personally seen some perhaps personal comments people have made to me about what they think they would do if it had been their son, if Trayvon had been their son. I do see a certain amount of frustration. I do see some shame because it's a very demoralizing position to be in, where you're constantly victimized and you feel helpless to do anything about it. And there's a certain amount of fear because what does all this signify? You know, we all have black people in our family, black people we love, and if Trayvon Martin can be gunned down like this, how can any of us feel safe? What I was hoping was that it might cause some black people to shake off this delusion of inclusion, like Paul Mooney says, and understand that nothing has really changed for us any more than it's changed for our parents or grandparents. And that might cause some people to take another look at what they're dealing with. But I think that we have to have a different response, and the response can't be marching, and it can't be violence. It's got to be a psychological revolution. It's got to be changing the way we think and react to racism. And I don't have any answers as to what that should be, but I do know it starts with self. And where I'm starting at is I'm starting, I won't say I've started. I've been working on my anti-blackism. You know, I really am making an effort to be aware of my anti-blackism, to be, you know, I've started to see black people for what they are, and that's victims. And even at work, it's really a perfect opportunity because there are certain people there. I work at a very large place, predominantly black, and as you can imagine, there's a lot of conflict, a lot of nonsense, a lot of frustration, a lot of anti-blackness. And what I've been working on is with the people that I did have issues with is to see them as victims. For example, there's one person in particular that I really haven't cared for a very long time. When I looked at him today, I said, well, this brother, he's a dark-skinned brother. I know he grew up in a very dysfunctional household. I believe he grew up in a lot of poverty. And so when I think of him that way, it really helps me to see that this is a person that's been traumatized and victimized, and his behavior toward me and other people is a byproduct of that. So that's what I'm really working on, is the anti-blackism. And to also, you know, a lot of times white people will try to make us think that calling ourselves victims is making excuses, is feeling sorry for ourselves, but they have no doggone problem calling themselves victims. Victims of us, victims of the Iraqis, victims of the Superman, victims of the Martians, victims of everybody on the planet. They have no problem putting on shows like Intervention, where a bunch of middle-class people sit around and feel sorry for their drug-addicted son or daughter who has no problems in the world that I can see other than the fact they like to get high. They have no problem being victims and being on television and being victims and making victimhood a high-status occupation. So we can't let people discourage us from calling it what it is. We are victims. We've been victimized by white supremacy. We will continue to be victimized. There's no shame in being a victim. A victim is simply a description of what has been done to us. It has nothing to do with making excuses. So I see black people as victims. I'm not going to let white people define other black people for me. So, you know what I'm saying? So I'm just, I'm having my own psychological revolution, you know, but I don't need any weapons to have this revolution. You know, I just need more knowledge. So that's pretty much what I've been working on, is my anti-blackness.